Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me on this morning. Good morning. Going to just give it just a few more seconds to allow some people to join in. If you can just take just a moment and you can just share this video or just tag someone that you know that might need this morning Monday motivation. Just tag them, share with them, and let them know that I am on. Thank you so much for joining. Just a few more seconds. Just a few more seconds. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to first thank you all for joining me on this morning. This is my very first Monday motivations and declarations. And I was challenged by my business coach. And she said to me, she said that you are a pastor, but you also a business owner. And right now, that during this time and season in so many people's lives, they need to hear a voice, need to hear a familiar voice, a real sensitive voice, somebody that's real caring to the fact of owning a business or having a desire to want something, to be able to speak into their lives. And so I started thinking about it. I started praying about it and started looking over my life as a whole, as being a business owner. I am a pastor. I am the pastor of Divine Destiny Ministries, and I'm also the leader, the founder of an awesome women's ministry, online women's ministry called the Daughters of Zion Ministry. But there's also another part of my life of who I am and who I was before I ever became a pastor, and that is a business owner. Over 20 years ago, I started off being a hairstylist, and it has always been my desire to be a hairstylist from a small child, from being a little girl, from doing all my dolls' hair, from doing my cousins and my friends and some of my family members' hair in the room, and allowing me to be able to do what I do with no experience, and they allowed me, they trusted me enough. And so during this time, for over 20 years, I have been a business owner. I went up under the tutelage of my aunt, Patricia Bird, and for years I worked up under her, and I watched her from being a shampoo girl and to going to school and to finally stepping out on faith and owning my own salon. And from the very beginning, I started off up under her as Hairstyles Unlimited, and I later evolved into Beautiful You Hair Salon. And let me tell you something, over the 20 years that I have been in business, I can tell you that it has not been easy. Yes, you get discouraged. Yes, you get frustrated. Yes, you wonder how in the world that I can be able to go forward. Because when you first start off, you be excited. You be motivated about walking into the thing that you've been desiring and hoping. And you be wanting other people to believe in you and fight along with you and get started along with you. And oftentimes that sometimes we lose our fire, because sometimes we be looking for people to encourage us and to fight with us and to stay with us. And the truth of the matter is, people don't always stay with us, even though that we know that we are anointed at doing at something, even though we know that we believe in our whole heart that we called to do something, that sometimes it don't always go the way that we thought that it should. So I want to talk to you just for a moment, because I've never lived through a pandemic, and I'm sure that many of us have never lived through a pandemic before. So I want to share with y'all that as I was going through this, that being a business owner, to see the risings and see that sometimes the fallings, to see the discouraged places, to also live through the most encouraging encouraging places, that right now that we need a voice right now in the atmosphere in this season of our lives to remind us that God is still with us, that God still will allow us to still prosper even in a pandemic, even though that things you might be saying it's not going the way that I thought that it should, that you're wondering whether I should keep my doors open or whether I should close my doors, whether I should hire more people. What should I do right now in this pandemic? I just want to talk to you for just a moment. That during this time, yes, I can be honest. Yes, I've cried many tears. Yes, I've been frustrated. Yes, I wonder, God, have you really anointed me to still go forward and still do this thing? But we have to understand that even though we trust God, even though that we have faith in God, we have to understand that God has given us power to obtain wealth. He has given us gifts. He has given us talents. And we put so much pressure and not to say that God is not able to do it, but sometimes we put so much on God and we try to put everything on God and we don't want to put nothing on ourselves. And the truth of the matter is, faith without works is dead. And so therefore, I want to talk to us just for a moment. And the title of our Monday motivations and declarations is, it's time to boss up. It's time to boss up. And I even had to say this to myself. And I had to boss up because yes, God has given us gifts. Yes, God has given us talents. But what are we doing with it right now? That we can't just succumb to the enemy and say that, yes, times are hard. Yes, I've never been here before. We have to boss up and say, okay, God, what have you given me this talent to do with? What have you given me this awesome gift? What do you want me to do with it? Where do you want me to go from here? And you got to use it and be able to launch off and go forward. I started looking at myself and I started using Joshua, because Joshua was the end time prophet for this season and this time. And that I looked at his life and I said, you know what? Sometimes we have to reintroduce ourselves and to the real leader that's on the inside of us. That all of us are called to be a leader, but sometimes that we have to fall back and be able to follow somebody else. Everybody want to talk about that you're not a follower, that you're a leader, but you have to understand that there are going to be times in your life that you're going to have to follow somebody else, that we can't lead at everything that we're not called to lead at. But you got to understand that sometimes we got to follow somebody that you know that using the gifts and the talents and going in the places that we desire to go, and we got to be able to follow them. I took my time and I said, you know what? There's some things that I know that I need to be better at. There's some things that I'm great at. I know that I'm good at doing hair. Hands down, I know that I can cut hair. I know that I'm a great colorist. I know that there are some things that I'm great at doing in this hair industry. But the truth of the matter is, I don't know everything about business. So I had to trust somebody with my business and say, hey, this is what I want to do. And she said, you know what? You got to start reintroducing yourself. Because yes, at one time that I can honestly say that I was killing it in the game. That I was doing everybody from Bishopville to Darlington to Florence. People was driving from Columbia and stuff, and they were saying that, you know what, I gotta get in Deidre's seat. And that sometimes that along the way that we lose our own self because we just go out I'm thinking that we gotta stand off of our gift alone. And you gotta understand that we can't just stand off the gift alone. What are some things that we got to reintroduce to our own selves? Because you got to understand that I can't persuade nobody else if I can't first persuade the leader that's on the inside of me. So you got to start first in reintroducing yourself, saying who you are and whose you are, and know that God has called you for a purpose. God has called you for a time. God has called you for a season, and you got to move forward in it. Yes, you are a business owner. Yes, you have gifts, but guess what? Sometimes that when everybody is doing so much, you got to keep reminding them that I'm still in the game, that I'm still good at what I'm doing. I'm still awesome. I'm still powerful. I'm still great at it. I don't care how many hairstylists show up. I don't care how many fitness people show up, Tamara. Guess what? I'm still good at it. I have what I have, and I'm good at it. I may not be like the next one, but guess what? God ain't called me to be them. God has called me to be who I am, and I got to walk forth in it. First, 1, reintroduce yourself. 2, you got to understand the only way we get to our promised place, we got to understand that sometimes that we're going to have to go through some wilderness. There are some places, I'm telling you, that if I would have quit, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to be transparent. There was a time that I lost everything. Everything in my salon was taken away from me. Everything. And I mean on a Saturday, everything, from all the shampoo bowls, from all the dryers, and everything. I was standing up in the middle of a floor, and people was driving by. People was laughing and saying, you know what, what's she gonna do now? And all that stuff. But you know what? I had to get to a place and say, you know what? Okay, God, where do I get from here? You got to understand that I had to say, I got the gift. I got the talent. Yes, I do. But God, where do you want me to go from here? Because you got to understand that there are going to be moments that everything don't always go the way that you desired for it to go. But you can't sit and just wallow in your tears or throw in the towel and say, I'm done. At that moment when I lost it all and people was riding by and laughing, even family and friends, I went home. I laid on my face and I said, God, you know what? I'm not going to let go. I got the Jacob spirit. I'm not going to let go until you give me what I came here for. God, there are too many people that are dependent on me. I cried too much to get here. God, I'm a single mother. My child is waiting on me. And I started giving God back everything. I said, you told me that I was anointed for this. You told me that I was prosperous. You told me that I was called. You told me that I was anointed. You told me that I was gifted. You told me all of this. And God, I ain't going off of what nobody else said. I'm going off of what you spoke over me. So I'm not moving from this place, God, until you bless me. And I did not get up off that floor until I heard the Lord say, don't testify yet. When I got up that Sunday morning, even with tears in my eyes, discouraged, I went to church and I gave it all that I had. I cried. I praised like nobody's business. I laid it all on the floor and I just wept before the Lord. That Monday, I'm telling you, after losing it all, that Monday, people started calling and saying, hey, there's something out on your patio, on your steps. Go get it. It was leaving dryers for me. There were people that was mashing money in my hands and they were saying, you know what, I help you with your plumbing. I help you with stuff. And I said that even clients was calling. They said, are you going to be back open on next week? And I just said, yes. Didn't know how I was going to do it because I was already just, trying to make ends meet. And I didn't know how I was going to be able to furnish a whole salon back. But I kept saying, yes, you got to inspire yourself and encourage yourself even when nobody else does. Even at that moment, in my lowest place, I'm telling you, I kept encouraging myself. And let me tell you something. You can't ever let nobody see you sweat. Because even though they was laughing, even though they was talking about me, even though they was making fun of me, guess what? I kept in my grind. I did not let one tear fall until I got in my car. And when I got in my car, yes, I broke down and cried, but I didn't let the enemy see me cry. I got in my car and I praised. I said, okay, God, what you got for me to do? Where am I going from here? Because God, I know that there's got to be greater. So let me tell you something. I kept fighting. And guess what? God started allowing people to bless me. I want you to know that just because things are not going the way that you think that it should, God will send some people your way that you ain't never thought that would show up and bless you out of no way. I'm telling you, people that I ain't never thought they even liked me, they even cared about me, even thought nothing about me. People started sowing into me, started blessing me, started giving it to me, started doing it to me. And I'm telling you, I lost everything on that Saturday, all the way down to the broom, all the way down to a dustpan. I ain't even had pipes in the walls no more. But I'm telling you, the only reason why I didn't open back up on that Tuesday because the plumbing work wasn't finished. But I'm telling you, I went back in on a Wednesday, and I'm telling you, and I never stopped from that Wednesday, even after losing everything on that Saturday. 3-4 days later, I was back full force, because I'm telling you, when God is for you, there is nothing that the enemy can do that can stop what God has spoken and declared over your life. You just got to believe in it. You got to boss up. And I'm telling you, I'm in my season now that I'm bossing up. I've lost a lot of stuff. I cried a lot of stuff. People might say, Deidre thinks she bougie. No, I don't. Because you don't know my story. You might
see me and you might say, because, hey, I like to look good. I like to dress nice. Who don't like the finer things in life? But you don't know my tears. You don't know my story. I done cried a lot of tears in order to get to this very place that I'm already at. And trust me, I know that God is still not finished. So in this time, you got to reintroduce yourself. You got to also know, you got to remind yourself of where you're going. And you got to be constant in the battle. I'm telling you right now that you can't, and please no disrespect to take this, you can't be a punk about it. You gotta stop letting the enemy fight you and beat you and having his way with you. I'm telling you, you got to learn how to put up your dukes and you gotta fight back. Even in moments when I didn't know how the light bill was gonna get paid, even in moments, I'm telling you, I had to keep fighting. I had to keep fighting. There was moments that I worked all week and all I had was enough to pay the bills, but I kept fighting. I kept fighting. I kept fighting. You got to tap into the fighter that's on the inside of you if you want to win in this pandemic. You got to keep reintroducing yourself. You got to stay consistent at your goals. And I'm telling you, even when it don't look good, you got to stay in your grind, because I'm telling you right now, there are so many people that are quitting because they thought that it was easy. They thought because you was doing it. Oh, if Shayla can do it, I know I can do it. But let me tell you something. You don't always have the same instructions that I have. And I tell my ministry all the time, just because God gave it to you don't mean that God gave it to me. And I got to stay firm off of what God has spoken over my life, because what God has spoken over my life, that's what he's going to make happen for me. And I'm telling you right now, I can't hold God accountable for what he spoke over you. I can only hold God accountable for what he spoke over me, and pray every day that God give me the strength to be able to stand through the things that he has spoken over me. So stay constant in battle. Remind yourself constantly of where you're going. And you got to keep reintroducing yourself. I know you might be saying, why she keep posting all those old hairstyles up there 3 and 4 years ago? Because I want to remind you, while I'm reminding myself, that I'm reintroducing Deidre Samuel McLeod. Hey, I might not be everybody's cup of coffee, but I know I'm somebody's cup of tea. And you got to understand that everybody can't do everybody. So what? Everybody got a bunch of hair salons. So what? Everybody wrote a motivational book. So what? Somebody else wrote some poems. So what? Somebody else doing a play. So what? Somebody else an exercise leader. So what? Somebody else got a boutique. So what? God called you to do what he has called you to do. And my instructions ain't your instructions. And just because you got one don't mean that I can't get one. Just because you can't do it don't mean that I'm not anointed to do it. Just because you drowned in the Red Sea don't mean that God is not going to allow me to walk on dry land. You got to understand what God has assigned for you. It is for you. Operate in it and flow in it. And everyone may not be called to you, but guess what? Everybody in your assignment. You got to understand that sometimes that, and I thank God for my business coach for even reminding me this. She said that, you know what, you ain't called to do everything, and that's cool. I might not be the one to do your braids. I might can't do your feed-ins. I might can't do that. But guess what? I ain't tripping. I ain't flipping. I ain't the one that might do your dreadlocks. But guess what? I got to stop saying, you know what, we as an industry, we got to build each other up and say, hey, you know what? I might not do it, but guess what? I know Sister Mel across the street. She's awesome at braids. She's awesome at doing dreadlocks. Guess what? Don't try to get it all for yourself. Remind them about somebody else, because guess what? What you make happen for somebody else, God will make happen for you. And guess what? When people come to my salon and I say, you know what? I don't do that. Now, but I can tell you who does. Right across the street, she's awesome at doing that. Hey, I don't trip and flip about that. But guess what? And if I tell them that I do it, and I said, you know what? I can do it for you if you trust me. But I don't really feel confident in it. But if you want to go to somebody else, go to them. But if you trust me enough, sit down in my seat and let me do what I do. But don't come trying to compare me to them. Don't come trying to compare what they do to what I do. Because let me tell you something. All you gonna get from me is Dee Dee. But if you go to them, let me tell you something. All you can expect from them is what they have to offer. Be confident in being you. Guess what? And do it. Do it. Be great at it. And do it. Because I know that I might not be the best hair cutter there is, but guess what? You ain't gonna handle me any kind of way, because guess what? When I step on the stage, I'm confident in the Dee Dee that I am, and I know that I can rip it and tear it up. Whether you give me a razor or whether you give me a hot shears or whatever, I know that right now I can make it happen. Whether you give me clippers, I already know what I can do is what I can produce. And guess what? I'm gonna give you the very best that I have, and we got to be confident. And the next thing, even if we will. Oh my God. But I tell you, when I first started as being Hairstyles Unlimited. Oh my God. When I first started, let me tell you something. Oh my God. I ain't know nothing. Nothing. All I knew was how to do hair. When I walked in there, I ain't knew nothing. When I walked in that shop, I walked in, I ain't know nothing about no business. And to be honest, through this pandemic, it has taught me that even what I thought that I knew over the course of the 20 years, I realized that I still needed more. And so guess what? I had to invest more into my business and say, you know what? I want to pay you to help me get the way I'm going. See, we think that we can only arrive certain places on our own. We think that we can always do it on our own. Don't be afraid to say, I need some help. There are times that you need help, that you can't do it. My daughter was trying to pour her a cup of lemonade yesterday. And I said, why you didn't just ask me for help? She wasted a whole pitcher of lemonade on the floor. I'm right here. I can help you. God will put people in place to help you to get where you need to be. But you got to first break down your pride and say, you know what? I can't do it. I'm good at doing hair. I'm good at doing hair. I know it. I done worked on stage. I done been platform. I know that I am. But the truth of the matter is, where I'm trying to go, God, I need help doing it. I was sharing with somebody the other week, and I said to them, I want people on my team that know how to launch, that link with me, to help me launch what I'm trying to go forth in. She said, no, you don't. You don't need for them to have the same mindset that you. And I said, I let her finish. And when she finished, I said, yes, you do. Because if all of us ain't on one accord in here, and you fighting to pull one way, and I'm fighting to pull another way, guess what? All we're going to be doing is having tug of war. Get with some people that have the same mindset that you have and believe in you, to say, you know what? That Dee Dee, that I might not be, Madisa, I might not be or have the faith that you have. But guess what? I believe in you enough. I'm going to help you row in the boat, because I know that you got the vision to help me get to where I desire to go. But I might not have the faith that you have to help get there. I'm not going to hurt you, and I ain't going to hinder you, but I'm going to help you roll until we all get there. And you got to understand that you got to have people on your team. I'm telling you right now, because if you got people that on your team and they fighting against you and they don't believe in you, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a disaster waiting to happen. And I'm telling you, what God is getting ready to produce in my life, I'm looking for a whole team to help me get there. I ain't looking no more to be in my salon working 20 hours. I'm telling you, telling you, there have been times that I went to work at 6 o'clock in the morning and didn't get off till 1 o'clock in the morning. I ain't trying to live like that more. I'm trying to now make my work for me. I ain't got to go. I don't know. God, if it take me doing 7 or 8 people or 10 people a day in order to still make the same money that I was making doing 25, God allow me to work smarter and not allow me to break down my body, not allow me to be able to spend time with my family and doing things that I know that I'm supposed to be doing, spending up all this time and still made the same money that I could have made in doing the 10 people that I was doing now that compared to doing the 20 something people that I'm doing before. I want to understand. I want you to help understand. Reintroduce yourself. We got to boss up. Boss up. I want somebody to say that in the comments because that's our motivation. Boss up. We're bossing up. We reintroducing ourselves. Remind us of where we're going and keep staying focused and allow ourselves to stay with people that we know that's connected to our destiny, because just because they start with us, and let me tell you something, the people that I opened up with years ago, guess what? Those people don't work with me no more. Those people have already gone on about their business, and I'm good. I ain't hating on you. I ain't mad with you, but I got to understand that just because you started with me don't mean that you're going to end with me. That God might be trying to say, hey, you know what? There's somebody else that's tied and connected to you. Link up with them and be able to move forward into the things that God has spoken over your life. You got to have clarity. I thank the Lord that God had to allow some weeds to go out the way. Clarity. Now I got clarity because I had so many weeds growing up around me. I couldn't appreciate the garden that God has allowed me to be a blessing over. I had to weed some stuff out. Let me tell you something. I had to weed folk out. I had to weed my own negative thinking out. I had to weed some stuff out the way to realize that, you know what? My garden is flourishing. My garden is beautiful. My garden is great. But you know what? When you allow so many weeds to be in the way, you ain't got clarity on where God is trying to take you, because you're trying to be over here. You're trying to do this. You're trying to go over there. You're trying to take care of this. And you all over the place. And when you all over the place, you ain't got real clarity in where God is actually trying to take you. This is my final point, and I'm going to give you some decorations so that you can be able to stay strong in this pandemic. And I want you to know that you got to always have character. When they go high, no, when they go low, and I'm getting this from our awesome former First Lady. When they go low, you go high. I don't care who try to sabotage you. I don't care what kind of negativity they try to speak over your name. I'm telling you, when they go low, you continue to go high. Don't stoop to nobody else's level. I'm telling you, sometimes when we're in the game, everybody, they think that just because that we're doing the same thing, that I can't motivate you. I can't support you. And I'm telling you, if all of us took the time to support each other in this pandemic, all of us will be winning round about now. I'm telling you, I have bought flat irons that I didn't need. I have paid for classes that I already knew how to cut, but I supported them because I'm trying to help you be great. I didn't attend the color classes. I didn't really need it, but supporting other people. I didn't took flat iron classes. I didn't took classes of learning how to do certain things that I didn't really need. But guess what? I done brought lip gloss from other people, and my daughter is selling lip gloss to support you, because even though that you might say, I ain't supporting her, I still support you because my character speaks more about me, and I'm going to go high even when you try to go low. Let me tell you something. I have gone to other salons and got my hair done. And let me tell you something. I know how to do my own hair. I ain't got to spend money with you. But when I do spend money with you, trust me, I'm doing it because I support you and I want to be a blessing to you. I know how to cut my own hair. I know how to color my own hair. I know how to set my own hair. I know how to put weave in my own hair. But guess what? Sometimes I go to other people because I'm supporting them and I want to be a blessing to them, because you can't always think that it's always about you. You want somebody else to bless you, so why not bless somebody else? So I go to them. I support them even when I don't even need it. I done bought more curling irons and bought cups and earrings and all kind of stuff that I don't even need just because I want to be a blessing to somebody else. So my final point is, when they go low, continue to go high. Draw them in with your character. So these are some declarations that I have set to be able to speak over ourselves and to speak over our businesses as we move forward in this pandemic. Because I want somebody to type in the comments right now, it's time to boss up, because we can be prosperous even in a pandemic. One, the first declaration I want to say to you, I am filled with the knowledge of God in all wisdom and spiritual understanding to lead the business that God has ordained for me. I'm going to say that one more time. I am filled with the knowledge of God in all wisdom and spiritual understanding to lead this business that God has ordained for me. I want you to speak that over your life. You can go back and listen at the video and go back and recite these things over yourself. Then I want you to say to yourself, no attacks formed against me or my business will be able to prosper. I'm telling you, say this over yourself. No attacks. I decree it and I declare it that no attacks that are formed against me or my business will be able to prosper. The third declaration is, I decree and I declare there is no lack in my life, my ministry, or my business, for my God supplies all of my need according to his riches in glory. Yes, that's a good one. That thing spoke to me when I wrote it this morning. And the fourth one, the blessing of the Lord brings wealth, and he adds no sorrow or stress with it. I decree it and I declare it that Beautiful You Hair Salon, that Daughters of Zion Ministry and Divine Destiny Ministry, we are blessed of the Lord, and God brings wealth and he adds no sorrow or stress with it. We're going forward. And our final declaration is, I decree and I declare that I will never be broke another day of my life. I pray that Monday motivations and inspirations and declarations have a blessing to you. Share this video with somebody. If they missed the live, it's okay. Share the video with them. Tag somebody in it and tell them to listen. And join me again next Monday at 10 a.m. as we go forth in another Monday motivations and declarations, as we continue to speak life over our businesses and let them know that we're going to win even in a pandemic, because I'm bossing up. Have an awesome and wonderful day.